running through 11 countries for 6,695 kilometers. The Nile is one of the great rivers of the world, serving as a lifeline for millions of people. By 2050, this number will increase to around 1 billion. Human activity and climate change put enormous stress on the Nile ecosystem. Cooperation among countries sharing this river is therefore key.
It started in Dar es Salaam in 1999 when all the 10 Nile Basin countries decided to form the Nile Basin Initiative. And they were looking at this as something that is very important for the countries to come together and to see how they can jointly utilize and at the same time manage this shared resource.
Located on the shores of Lake Victoria, the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat is the lead center for cooperation and the management of water resources. The Secretariat coordinates the only basin-wide platform for member states to discuss, with trust and confidence, how to jointly use and take care of the Nile.
NBI provides this platform to bring the different countries, the Nile Basin Initiative member states together, and the different stakeholders to come and discuss and have this kind of forum where they can come together and talk about issues related to the Nile Corporation and the Nile Basin. The Nile does not have borders. While the countries are looking within the borders, most of the time, it's only the Nile Basin Initiative that is looking across the borders or beyond the borders.
Joint investment projects that, like the Nile itself, span across borders, play an integral part in achieving water, food, and energy security. One such project currently implemented is the regional Rusumo Falls hydroelectric project by the NBI Nile Equatorial Lakes Subsidiary Action Programme, or NELSAP. The Rusumo project is expected to be completed in 2020 and will serve citizens in 3 partner countries.
The Rusumo project is very crucial. The fact that it's going to add 27 megawatts to each country grid system. That is Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania. The Rusumo project was championed by NELSAP in terms of authorizing the project since 2005. It's going to bring cohesion and cooperation among the 3 countries because countries are looking at the shared benefits in terms of megawatts, not in terms of water use. The substation at Rusumo has been designed to synchronize the networks between Tanzania, Burundi, and Rwanda. So it will enhance the reliability of power from the 3 countries. If you have excess cheap power from, for example, from Tanzania, it can be transmitted through Rusumo node to Burundi or to Rwanda.
Under the NBI stewardship, investment projects worth $6.5 billion have been prepared over the last 20 years, benefiting millions of people. However, investment projects need to be planned and implemented with consideration. Karimunda Nasser heads one of the 67 households affected by the Rusumo project in Rwanda. Consequently, he is now one of the NBI Livelihood Restoration Program beneficiaries.
Batwigishije twari dusanzwe tunoreye n'inka ariko baduhaye izindi ariko izo baduhaye batwigishije ukuntu tugomba kuzorora kijyambere tukabona inyungu. Ifumbire ikaboneka, amata tukanywa, tugasagurira n'isoko uburyo bwo kwiyubaka mu buzima. Muri make twabonye hari cyahindutse mu muryango. Umushinga w'amashanyarazi ya Rusumo kiza twarawishimiye uko ndumva kandi nunarangira uzagira abantu akamaro ku bwinshi yuko hari abantu bawutegerejeho byinshi.
Joint investment projects are not the only approach of the NBI to address challenges. The Eastern Nile region is severely endangered by environmental degradation. Through capacity building, generation of policies and knowledge, the NBI Eastern Nile Technical Regional Office, or ENTRO, supports countries to better manage and sustain their shared water resources. This is particularly important as 85% of the Nile's water originates in Ethiopia.
Lake Tana is an important part of the water cycle in the water balance of the Nile. Without Lake Tana, you cannot imagine this river system functioning as we know it now. So the threat to the normal functioning of the lake emanates from what is happening around it, the socio-economic activities. But in 2012, a new threat emerged, the water hyacinth problem, a new invasive species not native to the area. We are working on it, and there is a wetland study initiated by Nile Basin Initiative. So fighting the water hyacinth problem is, I think, a priority call.
Since the aquatic weed was discovered at Lake Tana, efforts have been underway to control its spread. When left unchecked, the water hyacinth quickly forms thick floating mats that block sunlight and prevent the circulation of air and water, thus adversely affecting the lake's ecology.
The solution for removing or controlling of this weed is not far from the lake. About 40 tributary rivers coming into the lake. And this comes with a very huge amount of sediment, with huge amount of nutrient, with huge amount of chemicals. We can lose this huge resource, this icon Lake Tana, if we fail to manage this weed.
Unless coordinated mitigation measures are taken up, the environmental changes at Lake Tana bear considerable risks for Ethiopia itself and the downstream riparian states.
If you accept the proposition that the Nile is a transboundary river, it means it cuts across many countries. The river is an interconnected system, and what happens here affects midstream countries like Sudan and South Sudan, and downstream countries further like Egypt. So maintaining a healthy, functioning ecosystem of the Nile is very important, and for this you need to cooperate.
The interconnectedness of the Nile is therefore at the heart of issues faced all along this precious resource. Egypt, for example, is impacted by growing water demands and water availability challenges. These two issues are central to the latest decision by the government to reduce the cultivation of rice, fining farmers who plant this water-intensive crop in non-designated areas.
فقال ما تزرعش رز وحددوا القوانين بتاعتها وقال لك لو زرعت رز هتدفع مخالفه قد كده. لا مش زارعين رز. طب بعد ما نزرع رز طب هات لنا بدايل. البديل بتاعنا اللي هو الذره. طب زرعنا الذره الحكومه ما حددتش سعر الذره قبل ما نزرعه. ماشي انا مصلحتي مهمه بس ما اقدرش اضر برضه بمصلحه البلد وانا التزمت. طب احنا التزمنا وما زرعناش رز. في ناس سابت اراضيها بايره السنه دي وما قدرتش تكلف عليه. كان لصالح مين؟
Covering these issues puts a spotlight on the need for the Nile Basin countries to work together. It also increases the awareness of people about the interconnectedness of these issues. The NBI therefore engages with journalists on various levels, for example through workshops, to strengthen reporting about ongoing basin debates.
So, one very important part of the workshops was actually the networking and the side conversations that you have with all the participants. It has been very obvious through the workshop and other work that our problems seem to be very common. We have population problems, we have development problems, we have the livelihood that we need to provide for people. So it seems to go without question that all our issues are connected, and so it's not clear why the solution should not also be very cooperative and interconnected.
As long as we are working together as Nile Basin states, the Nile has a very bright future.
We shall see more rights in the region, the people getting more power, and more importantly, cheap, reliable power from renewable source.
Ivuka numvaga bavuga Nile ariko bakavuga ko abo mu majyepfo mu bihugu ubafitiye akamaro ariko twinjiye ntanabyumva ko hari icyo namari ariko aho urugomero ruzi aho bubakiye amashanyarazi niho menye agaciro kawo.
You need to find a way to use the water more efficiently, more effectively.
I think there's a lot of hope for the future, but the important thing is to act now, it's not later.
To ensure win-win situations for all Nile Basin countries and between communities along and beyond borders, there is a need for more social, economic, and political cooperation. As challenges increase, so must the commitment to meet and overcome them. The Nile's abundant ecosystem and countless lives with team and potential depend on this vision.